Hello and welcome to West Wales, and as you can see I'm on the beach, and today I'm doing a little bit of beach combing and a little bit of foraging. If you're new here, my name is Becca and I'm delighted to welcome you to my quirky channel, I think I've decided to call it, all about living your best life in retirement. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you where we are. So we're on Goodick Sands. It's not particularly big tide today. The rowing club is out and about. Now, fingers crossed, Andrew and I are going to be able to join the rowing club because they have a skiff that's suitable for wheelchair users. So we've really got our fingers crossed that we're going to be able to sort something out, because Andrew was a really good rower. He used to row for Hereford, for the county, and yeah, we're just really hoping that that's going to come off. And obviously I will show you if it does. This piece of coal has been in the sea for a while because it's smooth, but that's sea coal. So you get quite a lot of interesting things on this coastline. We're next to the ferry port, so although there are lots of cockles and mussels and sort of things that you can collect to eat, I'm not crazy about doing it here because you've just got such pollution in the water and there are better places to do it. If I come across anything, I will show you, but I won't be collecting them to eat from here because they're filter feeders. So anything that's in the sea is going to have accumulated in their bodies. So I'm not crazy about eating kind of the heavy metals that you get from, say, a ferry, and it's, I was going to say it's exhaust fumes, but, sort of diesel oil gets spilt in here, and it's not very much. And you wouldn't say this was a particularly polluted beach, but it all gets concentrated in a bivalve, so that's why I don't collect from here. So if I do see something, I will show you, but I'm not going to collect it to eat. Okay, let's see what we can find. So I don't know if you're going to be able to make this out, but this sort of blackish sheet seaweed is lava bread. And lava bread is famous as a traditional Welsh food. It takes a lot of cooking, it has to be said. So we could collect that if we so desired. I prefer other seaweeds personally, but it's a very traditional dish made with lava bread, which is cockles lava bread cooked in bacon fat. This is one of the things I've been looking for specifically, and that's sea beet. So I'm going to collect some of this, and we're going to have this as a green vegetable with our Sunday roast a bit later on today. It's half term at the moment, so we've got lots of kids off building impromptu art. Fantastic, eh? So this is the fresh water that runs off the mountains and ends up at the sea. And there is a little tributary to this stream that's actually at the end of our road. But we're going to cross over here and go right to the far end, and then we're at the Fishguard side of the bay. So we started at the Goodick side, we're going to cross to the Fishguard side. So we've got the oyster catchers whistling their high-pitched whistle in the background, and I've come out to the rocks, and on a really low tide we get people actually collecting and harvesting the periwinkles, which they then take to there's a processing plant at Milford Haven where they're put through ultraviolet light to make sure they kill any bacteria, and then they end up in shops and supermarkets. I mean, it's a blooming hard way to make a living because you're bent down, and if I can find some periwinkles I will show you, but they're tiny little things. Yeah, but I guess, there are not a lot of job opportunities around here. And that is so true of so many rural places, is that, generally house prices are really high and wages are really low. And it does mean that it can be quite a challenge to make a living here. So, as a mussel, there are quite a lot of mussels along here. And also we also have a limpet. Can eat them. I mean, it's a bit like eating rubber bands. But up here, we should start to see the periwinkles, and you have all sorts of wonderful bits of seaweed, mostly bladderwrack, but there are some interesting seaweeds here as well. So we have a lovely little rock pool here, and this is fringed with what's my favourite seaweed to eat, which is sea lettuce. And it dries really well. You can use it in Asian cooking and it's really good for you. Before I go back to the house, I've just got a request. If you are not subscribed to the channel, it would be really great if you subscribed. You know how YouTube works and it really does help the channel out. I also have a Buy Me a Coffee page, and I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who supports me over there. It is just a one-off payment and it really makes a difference to me. It means that I can pay for the music that I use on the videos and the software that I use to edit the videos. So with that little commercial over, it's time to head home and see what we found. Back home, and I'm in my little fibre art space because Andrew's in the conservatory taking photographs. He's actually taking photographs for me, so it's kind of okay that I've been chucked out of my studio. It's not my studio, it's the conservatory. Anyway, right, before I show you the treasures that we found today, as just a couple of things I wanted to talk about. In the last video I showed you a mermaid's purse, and someone asked, what is a mermaid's purse? It is the egg casing from members of the shark family, and in the UK that is things like dogfish, smoothhound, starry smoothhound, taupe, skates and rays, and you find them washed up on the beach. And I've actually got 3 different ones now, which I think are all different species. I'm not 100% sure on the ID, so if someone knows, please do tell me and drop a comment below. Next thing on my list was to talk about upcoming videos. Now, I started making a sewing video about 10 days ago, and then the kitchen got flooded and I had to kind of clean carpets and rip up floors and all sorts of things. I mean, it's all sorted, it's all fine, but that obviously took up quite a lot of my time that maybe I would normally be crafting. Then we had visitors for about a week, so I haven't finished it. I haven't even picked up my sewing in that 10 days. I have picked up my never-ending sock knit. So I have been knitting this pair of socks since March. I'm nearly there. Oh my goodness, talk about second sock syndrome. So that is going to get finished eventually, and I will share them once I've finished. Spinning wise, I'm still spinning up that Gotland fleece, and I haven't really touched it in about 10 days because I just haven't done any crafting in about the last 10 days. The other thing I wanted to mention was somebody asked about seeing Andrew's photography, and that certainly is something that we would like to feature on the channel. I say we, I don't mean the royal we, I mean Andrew and I. And we've got a trip to one of the local castles and gardens coming up, and we did think that that would be another good video for the accessible walks. It does cost to get in, but if you are a carer, then you can go in for free. Andrew and I really enjoyed sharing our accessible walk that we did a few days ago, and they never get as many views as some of my other videos do, but we'd like to carry on doing them just because firstly we enjoy it, and we think that it might be helpful to someone who is coming to visit Pembrokeshire and maybe they have mobility issues. So we are going to keep doing that, and we together as a couple have got a trip that we're going to go on not very far from here, and it has really good access, and fingers crossed if the weather holds out then we will be sharing that in probably a couple of weeks' time. The other thing I am keen to share and keep sharing is just how the garden's progressing. I really love making the garden videos, so that is in my plans. I will get to the beekeeping one. I keep saying this. I will get to the beekeeping video. We're about to shut down the bees for the winter. I'm always a little bit nervous about promising there's going to be loads of footage of the bees, because I actually really have to concentrate on what I'm doing. So, you know, generally I just if I'm going to do it, I set the camera up and I don't particularly worry about the things that are in shot. I just do it because I really do need to concentrate on what I'm doing. Okay. What's the next thing? Oh yes, next thing. So somebody asked about Andrew's photography. Could we see some of his photography? And yes, absolutely. And when we do that trip, then that will be specifically for Andrew to take photographs, and we will share some of that. I've also sort of got an idea now. So this is the calendar that Andrew and I made for our friends and family, featuring Andrew's photography. So this was last year's, and this year we are looking at doing a landscape photography one. And I did think that, as I've had requests to see his photography, that I will make it available via my Zazzle shop, which means that it's print on demand. So I won't be printing them unless people order them. In fact, I won't be printing them at all. Zazzle will be printing them. So if people order them, you can order them all over the world. You can have the appropriate sort of list of holidays and things in your, I was going to say, these aren't Zazzle ones, so these are a bit different. But so if you sort of, if there's a holiday in the month, then they're different all over the world, and you can get one that's for a UK holiday, for American holidays, etc., etc. It's probably easier if I just kind of, when I've done it, I'll link it, and then if people want to buy it, that's great, that's fantastic, then we'll get a little bit of royalties from it. And if people aren't interested, that's fine, it hasn't cost us anything, and you know, maybe it will sell, maybe it won't. So having said all that very fast, and I don't think it made any sense, I'll come back to it in another video when I've actually uploaded the photographs and sorted it out for sale. Gosh, that was an awful lot. Right, so I am now going to go and show you the treasure that we collected, plus the mermaid's purse that we collected in the last video. And I've also got a couple of other ones that I've collected in the past, so I will show you those. This is the mermaid's purse that we collected in the last video when we were at Newport Beach, and they are egg cases, and once the little sharks have developed into baby fish fry, they gnaw their way out of this, and then these empty egg casings are washed up on the beach. This one also has Jack Russell teeth mark holes in them, as Millie was a little bit annoyed with me because she wanted to collect it, but I think she just would have chewed it up completely. So it's quite little. I've also got some other ones. So that's the little one we collected the other day. And then these are ones I found. These will be different species. And again, you can see where the little baby shark has, or dogfish or whatever it was, has gnawed its way out. And they're good fun things. I like finding them. Today's main treasure was this lovely sea beet. And I've just washed this. I'm going to put it in the salad crisper and then blanch it and eat it like spinach. And it will be delicious. High in iron, because it grows by the sea, it also is high in iodine. And I mean, even these sort of slightly, maybe not perfect leaves, they'll be fine once they're cooked down. You won't even notice. Delicious and nutritious. Not a huge amount of treasure, but I don't particularly collect everything I find. So nice bit of sea pottery. I liked the pattern on that. Big piece of sea glass with a bit of writing on. So we've got a couple of scallop shells, and then I liked this because it still had quite a lot of colour on it. and they will just go in my little random collection of beach treasure. And then very importantly, we also collected Scots pine cones to help light the fire, and they'll just go in my basket of Scots pine cones. Thank you so much for watching the video. As ever, subscribe, like, leave a comment. You know how YouTube works, and I will see you again really soon.